So this is just a quick video about the charge flap latch on a Nissan Leaf. So in this case this is a 2014 Leaf with about 30,000 miles, and the charge flap wasn't shutting properly. It would release and unlock fine, but when I went to shut it and slam it shut, it wouldn't stay shut and it would ping back open. And I've now had a few Leafs that have done this, and it's clearly a sort of common problem now as the Leaf is getting older. So what happens is the latch down here, which locks that charge flap, it sits down like that. It rusts, and these sort of prematurely rust and they get very stiff. The ridiculous thing is Nissan do not sell this latch, so you can't replace it, you have to repair it. Well, they do sell it, but it's a whole assembly of a new charge flap cover, the hinges, the whole lot. I can't remember exactly how much they quoted me for the parts, but it was a kit. It was in the region of £300 or £400, I think. What they actually kept sending me was the bonnet latch, which is very similar. That's only about, from memory, 35 quid or something, but they do not sell this latch on its own. However, it's easily repairable. So I'm not going to go into too much detail how to do it, but you don't need many tools, and it's the sort of thing anyone can do quite simply on their own. You've just got to remove all these little plastic bits that I've done up here. So the only tool you need is a flat blade screwdriver and a 10mm socket. So what you have to do is remove this flap. There's just lots of these little plastic clips like this, so you just ping that open with a screwdriver and then you can pull it out with your fingers. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, possibly one there, 7. I've taken this apart, so it's quite difficult to tell. And then you can remove the charge flap off the back of the hinge. That gives you a bit more access. So that is just the 10mm nuts, which I've got up here, those. What you have to be a bit careful in taking those off though, is there's these little shims behind it. So there's usually 2 on each, and you can quite easily, they slide out and drop down. You don't want them disappearing down the holes here. So when you take this off, just be careful to catch those shims. And then there's a few more plastic bungs up in here to remove all of this. So you don't have to take it all off. You could probably get away with taking this off, it just gives you a bit more room. You can then remove all of this, but actually if you can just do this and lift it up, it gives you enough space, and the latch just simply bolts down here. Let me get the latch back. That just simply bolts down like that, just there. So 2 10mm bolts either side, remove that, and then you've just got to release it from the cable. And that's pretty easy. You can do that with your fingers. Obviously the cable latches in here and the nipple goes on this other end, and then you can get this out. So when you've got this out, what you really need to do is soak it in some oil overnight, or just spray lots of penetrating fluid around the pivots. But the thing that rusts up the most is this pivot on this side, which is allowing that latch to spring back. That wants to be free. So you can release that spring like that. I'm doing it one-handed, so I'm not going to just release it, and then that allows you to wiggle this, get lots of penetrating oil in this joint here, and just make sure all of this is free. And then when you've done that, give it another good oiling, put it back together, job is done. Actually, you saved yourself hundreds of pounds, because if you sent it to a Nissan dealer to do this job, it's likely they don't mess around in working on parts, they just change parts, so it's likely they would change all that assembly and charge you hundreds of pounds.